Remember to take breaks, breathe, take it one step at a time. Remember to take breaks. Okay, but seriously, making games is a lot of work, and there is like a mountain of work that needs to be done that feels like it's never ending. And no matter how many hours you pour into your work, your stuff is going to get criticized. You're going to find bugs that need to be fixed. And there's the feedback and the marketing, and you got to make a Steam page. And do you want to do a Kickstarter or release your game on early access or work with a publisher, and like a billion other things that you have to decide to do. And I've looked for help before with Overwhelm, and I want to give you something more than meaningless platitudes like breathe, and give you some substance, so when you walk away from this video, you have some actual things you can do to feel better. And I don't care if you work on games full-time or part-time, or whether you have a YouTube channel on the side or not, or if you're doing this purely for fun as a hobby, or you're doing it because you want to actually release a game and sell it. And by the way, comment down below and let me know which category you fall into. I'm just curious to get like a ratio in terms of where everybody is at. But no matter which boat you're in, you're going to deal with overwhelm. It is just inevitable. And I am no expert on this subject, but I do have a lot of experience in dealing with overwhelm because of the nature of making games and having this channel, and we're launching a podcast soon. There's just a lot of balls in the air, and I do experience overwhelm quite regularly, and it's something that I have to actually consciously battle against. So I'm just going to share what has helped me. So let's dive right into it. Trust yourself to fix things. Maybe I'm alone with this, I'm not sure, but whenever I encounter a bug, there's this tiny little piece of me that's like, is this the one? Is this the bug that's going to break the game? Is this the one that I'm finally going to not be able to figure out? It's just the dumbest thing, because over the years, I've probably encountered thousands of bugs at this point, and they all always get fixed. I did an interview with CodeMonkey recently, and he said that whenever he encounters a bug, he doesn't even get frustrated anymore. It's just a step in the process. You encounter the bug, you follow it, you fix it, no sweat. And that's a really powerful mindset to have. And what that boils down to is trust yourself. You have made thousands of mistakes in the past, and you got through those, and you will get through this one. Trust that you can handle it. Sometimes when I'm spiraling because of overwhelm, maybe Nikki and I made a to-do list for the day in the morning, and sometimes I'm just like, ah! And sometimes I'm just like, oh my God. And sometimes I'm just like, oh. I can spiral down really fast. In my experience, usually when that's happening to me, it's because of the belief that I have that I can't handle this. I can't do this. It's that lack of trust that I have in myself to be able to handle all of the stuff that I have to do that day that causes me to feel overwhelmed in the first place. Using your past as an anchor can be really helpful for you here. You've handled crazy exams that you had to pull all-nighters for. You've gotten through really stressful job interviews. You've handled first dates. You've asked people out. You've performed at a talent show of some kind. Whatever scary, overwhelming stuff you did in the past, you got through that, and you will get through this as well. Don't project into the future. It's important to know what your schedule looks like so that you're not double booking things, and so that you're managing your time in a way that works well for you. So I'm not saying don't plan, but you do not need to obsess over what needs to be done next week or next month, or your Steam release that's happening in a few months, or whatever it is. All of that is going to drive you absolutely crazy. Once you have your schedule figured out on paper, let it go. Let next week go. Let next month go. All of that stuff is future use problem. All you have to do is handle today. And if today is too much, and I'll give you an example. This morning, I had an interview with Aya. He is an amazing YouTuber. Go check out his channel. Show that man some love. Go wishlist his game, Mana Valley. It looks absolutely incredible. But we did an interview for the podcast this morning. I had to write and record this video that you're listening to right now. I have a private teaching video to create and send out, and I have to get a start on a tutorial for YouTube for next week. When I woke up this morning, I was feeling a little bit overwhelmed with all the different things I had to handle today. So my point being, if today is too much to handle, it feels like it's too much, then just take it one task at a time. All you have to worry about is what you are doing right now. And for me, that's recording this video to the best of my ability. I don't need to worry about the rest of the crap that needs to get done today, right now, because that is future Brandon's problem. Move on. You're gonna get stuck when you're programming. It happens all the time. And so when this happens for me, what I've literally had to start forcing myself to do is move on from the problem. It's so hard to do sometimes because I can get really obsessed with trying to fix things when I'm stuck on them. But if you get stuck and you're kind of banging your head against the wall and the pressure is starting to grow because now you haven't done anything productive for the last last hour and a half because you've been stuck on this one stupid thing. So when you're at that point, move on. Do something else for a little while. I've heard that when emotions are high, logic is low, and I can very much vouch for that, and frustration counts here. When you're frustrated, you can't think as clearly as you normally can. Literally, your ability to solve problems is lower than it normally is. If you're there, then move on to another task that needs to get done. First, you'll start to calm down, and now you've actually done something productive that needed to get done anyways. And now that some time has gone by, it's more likely that when you come back to the problem later, you're probably going to figure it out a lot quicker. This happens to me all the time, especially when I'm working on bugs at nighttime. For whatever reason, I'll be stuck on something for like half an hour to an hour. I will go to bed, the problem's not fixed. I'll wake up the next morning and I'll figure it out in like 2 minutes. It happens all the time. Brain dump. I cannot stress just how effective brain dumping is. And I think for me, this is one of the best tools at my disposal. This is the one that has helped me out the most by far. Usually when I'm overwhelmed, it's because I feel like there's just literally too much to do for one day. There's too much to do and there's too much to remember, and I'm holding all of that up here. So when I say brain dump, what I mean is get a piece of paper and a pen and write down everything that you need to do that day, work and non-work related. Get it all out. It's like if your brain was constipated and then it's not anymore. It's like that for your brain. That's how it feels. Whenever you think of something else that needs to get done, just add it to the list. There's something really weird about writing stuff down on a piece of paper where you were holding it up here and now you've written it down and you've put it on a to-do list that you know you're going to handle. You don't need to remember it anymore, and this weight is just instantly lifted off of you. At that point, now it's just a matter of tackling each of those things like a champ. Adopt an I got this attitude. Wallowing in your overwhelm, feeling sorry for yourself, just kind of stewing in those negative emotions is not going to help you get through your stuff. And I don't mean to sound harsh, because keep in mind, this is all coming from someone who used to play the victim card really hard. I can't do this. It's too much. This isn't fair. That just used to be how I thought all the time. Personally, I just find that when I adopt this I got this attitude, I just feel less overwhelmed overall. No one is coming to rescue me from this mountain of work that's piling up, but that is okay because this is work that I love and I got this. You keep thoughts like that at the forefront of your mind, I promise you it's going to help you. This might be a bit of a controversial opinion, but I'm going to say it anyways. Be a little bit cocky. Not in that gross, arrogant way where you go around bragging just to boost your own ego. I just mean talk to yourself in a way that makes you feel confident. I got this. People are going to love my game. Bring it on. Nothing can take me down. Don't confuse humility with being timid. You kick ass at something. Everybody does. If you let yourself feel proud about that fact, you're going to find that your confidence just grows a little bit over time, and things like fear and overwhelm just won't get to you quite as much. Take breaks. I know this is one of the ones that I made fun of at the beginning, but hear me out for a second. This particular tip used to frustrate me a lot, and I think that was because I felt like I couldn't take a break. I have too much to do. Don't freaking tell me to take a break. I can't take a break. 5 minutes. That's all I'm saying. You do not need to take the whole day off. You do not need to take the whole afternoon off. Just take off 5 minutes. I get it. You have a lot to do. That's cool. That's totally fine. Just take enough time to switch your state. If you've ever had a fight with someone in your family, sometimes you might just need to walk away for just a couple of minutes, just long enough to clear your head so that you don't say something that you're going to regret later. It's exactly the same thing. You just need enough time to clear your head and cool off a little bit. That's what I mean by change your state. You do that, even if it's just for a couple of minutes, you're going to be much more productive when you get back to it later. So you're actually going to save yourself time. That's all I got. But if you have another tip for dealing with overwhelm, go ahead and throw it in the comments down below, because I really do want this video to help people as much as possible. Like the video if you liked. Bye. I want to give a very special thank you to all of our Hall of Fame patrons, Jakob Yondok, Sandra Kessler, Darren Preen, Throbbing Wind, Fontaine Waite, Couch, and Christopher Nichols, as well as our early access patrons, Zyoma, Ken Waite, Mason Crow, Mr. D, Audu Games, Jan, and Donnie Briggs. If you choose to support us on Patreon, you can get early access to all of our YouTube videos, monthly alpha builds, and more.